One, I would say, in some ways, Arabs are disadvantaged in knowing Arabic, modern Arabic, because there can often be a kind of compounded ignorance. Um, to understand the Arabic of the Quran takes many years of hard work. I mean, this idea that you can learn the language of the Quran in a year is just a very dangerous concept in my estimation. The Quran is a profoundly subtle book. It lends itself to multiple possibilities, and it takes a really long time. Now you can get obviously the core messages of the Quran, like if Allah says "Attaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi," any Arab that knows Arabic today would basically understand what that means. I mean, he might not understand that taqwa is a very specifically defined type of word, or he might not understand the derivation of the word from, waqiya, yaqi, wiqaya, which is prevention, and that taqwa is a masdar, and those aspects of it. But they'll get the general meaning of that. But to really understand where you get into a deep understanding of the Quran, it takes a lot of work. And there's a reason why it's dhalika al-kitab, because dhalika is for ta'zeem, And one of the things that I learned early on, when I was very young, I was in Mauritania, and I was studying, and I was reading the Quran, and I had this, what I thought was an insight into a thing. And I remember I was going to tell one of my teachers, I had this insight into the Quran, and he just stopped me. He said, no, like, you're not ready to do that. Don't, he just said, "Ittaqillah fi kitabillah." And when they asked Omar what ab was, in Surah Al-Abasa, ab is a word, and he said, "Ayu ardin tuqirruni wa ayu sama'un tudhilluni idha takallamtu fi kitabillah bi ra'yi." Like, what earth would hold me up, and what heaven would cover me if I spoke about the book of Allah without knowledge. So we have to have a type of awe for the book of Allah, and just be very careful. What the Ajam has direct access to is the ibadah of tilawa. And whether you can understand the Quran or not, tilawa has a profound effect on your heart. And this is just a fact. So if you do, and there's something very pleasurable about the Quran, about tilawa. It takes some time to get there. Like, if you look at the body just as an analogy, exercise is difficult. But once you actually start doing it, it becomes very pleasurable. So people that exercise on a regular basis, they feel bad on the days they don't exercise. The Quran is like that. If you get into a habit of reciting the Quran, and we are what we repeatedly do, as the Greeks emphasized constantly, that habit is very important. Kullu shay'in 'ada walau al-ibada. Everything is habitual, even devotion. And so you have to get into the habit. And so I would say, in terms of learning the Arabic, it's a really important thing, and I really encourage it to everybody. It's one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done in my life, just having access to this incredible legacy of knowledge, and over and above all else, having access to the book on. But my own experience, and I guarantee you, there are many times when I've read the Quran and I thought I understood it. When I went to the tafsir, there was a completely different meaning than what I was getting from just the Arabic. And so, and he asked me, I was in Malaysia last year, and a really, really wonderful Singaporean person there asked me, they had been troubled about the idea that the Quran had lacunae. They had taken a course at the university, and they said, in the course, they pointed out that the Quran can only be understood with tafsir. And they couldn't understand how the revelation of God how it couldn't stand on its own, that it would need tafsir. And While the Quran definitely does stand on its own as the book of Allah, it does need commentary. And the reason it needs commentary is because Allah has made it absolutely necessary to have a transmission. In the Quran, Allah says, "Innahu dhikrun laka wa liqawmika." It is a reminder for you and for your people. Imam Malik said that verse means a man saying, I heard from my father who heard from his grandfather. That this is a transmitted book. And this is why even to this day, when you learn the Quran, you learn it through isnad if you're learning it properly. So you study with somebody who studied with somebody all the way back to the Prophet ﷺ. And so you have chains. Every qari has a chain back to the Prophet ﷺ if they learned it properly. And so that's part of the nature of our religion, is that it's transmitted.